Welcome back to the Fuji Guys channel. My name is Francis. So you've just got yourself a brand new FUJIFILM X-T5 and you'd like to know a little bit more about how to operate it. Well, this video is just for you. All right, so first let's talk about how we can change the exposure on the FUJIFILM X-T5. So the X-T5 uses a somewhat traditional way of changing exposure settings. So we have our shutter speed dial here, which can be locked and unlocked. We have our ISO dial right here. Again, we can lock it and unlock it. We also have an exposure compensation dial, which can go up to 3 stops and then down to 3 stops. And then we can position it to C. We will be using the command dial to do that. And then we have our aperture on the lens itself. Now, if we wanted to operate the camera in a more modern DSLR kind of way, we would go and set the shutter speed to T and then the aperture, set it to A. Now to change my shutter speed, I will use the rear command dial and then I can simply rotate it to change my shutter speed. Now I've put my lens to A and right now it's acting as auto. Now if I wanted to change the aperture using the front command dial, I will simply go into the menu and then go down to the wrench icon and then to button and dial setting. And then I will go down to aperture ring setting A and then I will change it from auto to command. And then now, as you can see, if I use my front command dial, I can simply rotate it and then I'll be able to change my aperture that way. Now, if you wanted to swap the command dials, so have the front one to change the shutter speed and then the rear one to change the aperture, you could do so as well. Simply go into the menu again and then go to command dial setting, and then we can choose the front. We can change it to shutter speed if we wanted. And then the rear dial, we can change it to aperture. And then we can also see we have 3 times the front command dial. So that's when we push into the dial, it will switch to a different mode. So as you can see, the second one will be set to exposure compensation. So if I go and toggle, you can see I toggle from shutter speed to exposure compensation. So on the FUJIFILM X-T5, we have 425 autofocusing points to choose from. Now in single point autofocus, we can choose if we want the full 425 autofocusing point or 117. Now we can navigate those points by using the joystick. So simply moving it around, and then we can also use the front or rear command dial to change the AF box size. Now as you can see, I have the camera set to 117 AF points. If I wanted more to get more precise, I can go into the menu and then to the AF/MF section of the menu, and then go to number of focus points, and then choose 425. And then as you can see now, I have way more AF points to choose from. Now we have 4 different AF modes that we can choose from. We have single point, we have zone, we have wide tracking, and then we have all to be able to navigate through the 3 different options. Now if I select all, I'll be able to circle through the 3 different modes. So by simply moving the joystick and then rotating one of the dials, I can go bigger, and then I get into zone, get into a bigger zone, and then I get into the wide tracking. The FUJIFILM X-T5 also offers face and eye detection as well as subject detection. Now, to enable face and eye detection, I can go into the menu, into the AF/MF section, and then I can go down to the second page to face and eye detection setting, and then I can choose whether I want the eye auto, the right eye, or the left eye. Back to the AF/MF menu on the second page, I can go in and choose subject detection setting. And then from there, I can go on and choose whether I want to track animal, birds, automobiles, motorcycle and bike, airplane, or train. The X-T5 also offers back button focusing, and if you want to use it, you simply have to press the AF on button on the back of the camera to focus. If you'd like to disable the autofocus using the shutter button, you can simply go into the menu and then go to the wrench icon and then to button and dial setting, and then go to the second page to shutter AF. And then from there, you can choose for AFS if you want it on or off, for AFC if you want it on or off. You can do the same thing as well with shutter auto exposure. The Fujifilm X-T5 does offer a quick menu which you can access by simply pushing on the Q button. And then we can have all of our quick settings at hand. Now, if you wanted to add or remove the number of items into the quick menu, we can go into the menu and then we'll go into the button and dial setting. And then we can choose for the photo side as well as the video side as well. So on the photo side of things, I can choose between 16, 12, 8, or 4 slots. And then the same thing on the video side of things as well. I can choose whether I want 16, 12, 8, or 4 slots. We can also choose if we want the Q menu to be black or to be transparent. And then for that, we'll go into the wrench icon of the menu, and then we'll go to screen setup. And on the fourth page, we can choose again for photo and video. We can choose whether we want it transparent or black. So if we take a look, right now I have it set to transparent. When I press the Q button, you can see, I can see through my Q menu. Now, if you want to edit the items that are into your Q menu, the only thing you have to do is long press on the Q button, and then it'll bring up the Q menu, and then from there you can go and select which items you want and where. So I simply go through, and you can see I just click on OK, and then that way I can go and choose which items I want at which place. So the Fujifilm X-T5 features a touchscreen, and then we can do a lot of things with it. So first, if we have a look on the screen itself, we have a little icon here which dictates what happens when I'm touching the screen on the shooting mode. So I can either tap to take a picture. So if I go and select, takes a picture. If I click on it again, it'll bring me to autofocus. So whenever I touch the screen, it will automatically focus on the subject. So if I just aim and touch, it'll focus. And as you can see, I'm in wide tracking now, and it's tracking the subject. If I tap again, it'll bring me to area. So this is my preferred mode. So wherever I touch the screen, it's actually just going to move the focus box, but it won't take a picture and it won't autofocus. It is simply to move the AF box around. Now you can also use the touchscreen whenever you're aiming and looking through the viewfinder. You can use your finger to move the AF box around while looking through the viewfinder. And you can choose which area of the screen is going to be touch sensible. Now, to set that, we simply go into the menu and then go to the wrench icon, to button and dial setting. And then on the third page, we go to touchscreen setting. And then we go down to EVF touchscreen area setting, and then we can choose which area of the screen is going to be touch sensible whenever we're looking through the viewfinder. And then that will allow us to move the AF box around using our thumb on the screen, even if we're using the EVF. Now, if we go back, we can see within the same menu, we have some various settings. So touchscreen setting, if we want it completely off, we can do that. I'll leave it on. The double tap setting, so if we set it to on, whenever double tapping on the screen, it will basically zoom in and magnify my image on the LCD. Now in this menu is also where I'll be able to enable or disable the touch function. So if I turn it on, so as you can see, my touch functions are enabled. So if I swipe to the right, for example, it brings up the large icon. Swipe again, goes away. If I swipe down, I have my 3D level that comes up. And all of these can be set within the function setting menu. Now, if we go into the playback mode, we can also use the touchscreen as well. So we can pinch to zoom in or out. We can double tap to go back to the full image. We can swipe to each side to navigate through the various images as well. Now the Fujifilm X-T5 offers various bracketing options as well. We can do focus bracketing, auto exposure bracketing, and so on. And these can be accessed by simply moving this dial right here and then going to bracket. Now to choose my bracketing mode, I simply go into the menu and then to the shooting menu and then go to drive setting. And then from there I can go to bracketing setting, bracketing select, and then from there I can choose from auto exposure bracketing, ISO bracketing, film simulation bracketing, white balance bracketing, dynamic range bracketing, and then focus bracketing. Now once it's selected, I can go in and edit my settings for each and every bracketing modes. So right here in auto exposure bracketing, I can go in and edit the various settings. But if I don't want to go through the menu to edit my current bracketing selection, I can just simply by default press the front function button right here, and then that will bring me to my bracketing setting of the current bracketing mode that I'm using. Now the Fujifilm X-T5 does feature Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection. So this is quite useful for things like remote release shooting, which we can do through our phone. And one other thing that I really enjoy is the fact that I can use time and location geotagging basically. So first you'll need to pair your phone with the camera. And if you don't know how, we have a separate video about connecting your phone to your Fujifilm camera. But once your camera is connected to your phone, it'll connect via Bluetooth automatically. And then what you have to set for the time and location to sync is going to go down to the network USB setting, to Bluetooth smartphone setting, and then you'll go down to smartphone location sync, and then you turn it on. Now make sure your Bluetooth is set to on as well. And then from there, anytime you have your phone as well as your X-T5, they will be connecting automatically, and then the time and location will be synced. So this is very useful if you're traveling, for example, you're going into a different time zone, while you'll have the correct time, and then also you'll have all of your images geotagged as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video about how to operate the Fujifilm X-T5. Now, did you order yourself an X-T5? Are you waiting for it? Do you like your X-T5? Let us know in the comment section down below. And then until next time, c'était Francis pour les Fuji Guys.